Hello friends, I'm Robin, Fight to Stamping Country. Have you ever been frustrated with your alcohol marker coloring technique? Well, today I'm going to show you a quick trick to learning the technique. It's using designer paper. It's a little like doing paint by number. We're going to use the detail in the designer paper to teach us where to shade and where to blend and how to blend. It's really quite easy to do. The paper already has the shaded areas, so we can mimic or copy. We're going to start with the darker color, so I'm going to use a dark cherry cobbler, and you can see on this magnolia paper that it has a pinkish color, and then it has some gray and black, and that's where we're going to want to use the darker color. If you could do paint by numbers when you were a kid, you can do this. And even if you're not trying to learn shading and blending techniques, this is a fun technique to stretch your designer paper. So I'm going to take the darker color and I'm going to feather out and go over those shaded areas. And then you're going to go over it with your lighter color. You're going to want to move fairly quickly so that the ink stays wet and it blends well. If it dries too much, it doesn't blend as well. Now you'll notice that it looks a little hideous. Really, it does. A little amateurish. But don't worry. Once you blend it out, it looks rich and beautiful, and you can't even tell. So it really is sort of like those paint by numbers that we did when we were kids. You started off and it didn't look so hot, but then you add some more and ta-da, ta-da. For the centers, I'm using a dark daffodil Stampin' Blend just to give it a little bit of richness and more color. You'll notice when you're coloring your flowers, the natural shaded areas are at the inner edges of the petals and where the petals connect. And then you have just a little bit here and there out beyond that for the veins and just a little light shadowing. That is absolutely stunning. Once you learn this technique, you can go on and use the same techniques that you learned with the paper on your stamped images. I'm transforming this magnolia paper into a beautiful Christmas paper. So when you get tired of it one way, transform your paper and make it into something else. Pull out those Stampin' Blends and get coloring. Look at the contrast of that rich red against the black background. Stampin' Up! Has a designer paper sale going on now through the end of September. There's 10 select papers, including this beautiful magnolia paper. You can buy 3 and get 1 free. But the sale ends September of 2019. So if you want to get in on this deal, now's the time. For more details about this project, be sure to hop on over to my blog. I'll leave the link in the description below. There will be a supply list of things that I've used to make this card. Oh man, is that beautiful. Look at the contrast, the lights and the darks and the richness. Now, I made my card base just a skosh smaller. It's really only 4 by 5 1/4. It's a 1/4 inch smaller on each side. And I did that on purpose because the designer paper is 12 by 12. And by just making it that much smaller, I can get 6 cards out of a piece. Now, I'm using the die that goes with the Good Morning Magnolia stamp set because I want to cut off this little bottom edge of my paper. So I run that through my cutter, And then I'm going to use the piece that I cut off and put it on the inside. This is a stamp from the Good Morning Magnolia stamp set, and I'm just going to do tone on tone, Mossy Meadow on Mossy Meadow, and I'm just going to stamp that down there for just a little interest. I am using Mossy Meadow for the card base. And then we're going to use a stamp from the Perfectly Plaid stamp set for our inside sentiment and also for the Merry Christmas. Beautiful. I love that paper in there. Now for the sentiment on the outside, the Merry Christmas, that's also from the Perfectly Plaid. I'm going to stamp once again with the Mossy Meadow ink. We'll simply stamp the Merry Christmas and cut it with our stitched ovals dies. We're going to place this on the front of our card. We'll run this, let's tape it on there, and we'll run it through our Big Shot. And then we'll just pop that up with some dimensionals. Now I'm going to strategically place this so that my favorite flowers are shown. So you notice I moved the Merry Christmas around just a bit. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much, and have a fabulous day.